Welcome back to 504 Road Trips. Today is Saturday, September 12th, 2020, and we're going to take a drive through the French Quarter on this very rainy day here in New Orleans. We're now 6 months into lockdown, and Louisiana has entered phase 3, I think for the second time, and the city of New Orleans has remained in phase 2, only the city of New Orleans. So what that means is that food service establishments can only do takeout. I'm not sure what that means for like outdoor seating, but I know in other parts of the state that's okay, and now they're even using dining rooms again at a limited capacity. Outside of New Orleans, bars are allowed to open in limited capacity, and they have to close by 10 o'clock. They can't serve alcohol after 10 p.m. And that's probably the first time that there's ever been any such rule in New Orleans, that there's a time when a bar or restaurant has to stop serving alcohol, because here typically they run all night long. There's no 2 a.m. last call or anything like that. There never really has been. So New Orleans being in phase 2, what that means is that a lot of these bars and restaurants in the French Quarter are going to continue to suffer. The streets aren't completely abandoned anymore. There's some tourists walking around. Looks like people are still wearing their masks, which I believe that the mask requirement is still statewide. Anywhere you're going to be within 6 feet of somebody else, you got to have a mask on. There's no real requirement to wear them walking down the street, but in a dense setting like the French Quarter, it probably would be a good idea. If you're just walking around your neighborhood, they don't require you to have any kind of a mask. There's really no reason to have a mask on. And I know in my neighborhood, talk to the neighbors, you stand across the street from each other. People try to avoid being too close to other people. It does look like Cafe Du Monde is open. It is open, and they got people sitting at the tables. It looks like they got the table spaced a little further apart than they normally would, but I guess maybe because it's outdoor seating, they're allowed to do that. That kind of surprises me. But that's Cafe Du Monde, so. Anyway, the latest news is that, well, let me back up a little bit, because we did a tropical update a couple of weeks ago on hurricanes Marco and Laura, which were both forecast to come and hit New Orleans hard. And Marco completely fizzled out. We didn't get any rain or anything from Marco, and then Laura bypassed New Orleans and hit near the Texas-Louisiana border, and it was a pretty serious hurricane. It devastated Cameron Parish and the Lake Charles area. I'd almost say that hurricane Laura was as bad as Katrina. It was actually a stronger storm. If it had hit at that strength in New Orleans, it may have been another Katrina. The population density is much lower out near Lake Charles, so it wasn't quite as bad for them, but there's still a lot of people that are having to rebuild. And I don't think flooding is much of an issue out there. That's something that's unique to New Orleans. So now, today, we hear that there is a tropical depression, number 19, that has formed right off the southern tip of Florida. And it's forecast to hug the coast, the Gulf Coast, slowly, which gives it time to gain strength. And one of the possible points of landfall is New Orleans. And because the water in the Gulf is hot and this thing is going to move slowly, it could gain some strength. So we're back to we're back to the same place we were a few weeks ago, worried about a hurricane coming in. And they're saying it could be here as soon as Tuesday because it doesn't really have that far to go. So we got to keep an eye on that. And the storms are forming in the Atlantic off the coast of Africa, rapid fire, just one right after the other. And there's a good possibility they're going to run out of letters this year, because this storm, if they're projecting it to become a tropical storm by later today or tonight. And it's most likely going to be Tropical Storm Sally, unless something else becomes a storm before then it would become Teddy. But that's way high up in the alphabet, so there's a good chance we're going to be running out of letters, and we'll have alpha and beta, and I guess they just go up through the Greek letters. I'm not sure how high up they've ever gone. I know we've seen alpha and beta before, but it's not a common occurrence. This is Royal Street, by the way, and it's just dead over here. Saw a little more activity over there towards Decatur Street, but there is nothing going on Royal Street. Everything's just closed up. But anyway, so as the storm gets closer to New Orleans, if there's anything to report, I'll do a video on it, or 2 or 3 or however many. If nothing's happening, I'm not going to bother doing any videos. So with the regular uploads, we are a little more than halfway through the US 71 series, which was something that I just did because I thought it might be interesting. It's something that most people won't ever see. Once we finish up with the US 71 series, what I want to do is, on that same trip, which we made at the beginning of July up to North Dakota, going up there a few days earlier than the video we shot on US 71, we traveled between Jonesboro, Arkansas, and somewhere south of Kansas City, where we joined I-49. And it involved a lot of state highways and U.S. highways up diagonally across, northward through Arkansas, and then kind of diagonally across Missouri. And this is, a route that most people would never take. If anybody follows Big Rig Steve on YouTube, he actually took most of this route just a few weeks ago. But it's a very interesting route. It takes you through a lot of small towns, and the mountains are a little more scenic than what we saw in US 71. So that's probably going to be the next series after we get done with 71. And I'm also going to put together a series for I-29 from Kansas City to Fargo, which we drove straight through. So we got almost the entire interstate, except for the part between Fargo and Canada. And we had to detour off the interstate at I believe it's Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Sioux City is in Iowa, and I believe we passed through Sioux City, but I think it was Sioux Falls, South Dakota, that we had to get off of the interstate because there was some kind of an accident that closed the interstate, so we detoured through Sioux Falls. But otherwise, we got almost all of I-29, so that will definitely be a series. And then after that, I'm not sure. I got to go through my video and see what we have. But that's likely to be 2 or 3 months away by the time I run out of video on this trip. Now, coming up October 4th through 11th, out on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, is Cruising the Coast. And that's an event we go to every year. It is a gathering of people with classic cars. Last year, I said people came from 40 different states. And I don't know how it's going to be this year with lockdown. Mississippi hasn't had, or at least the Mississippi coast, from what I understand, has not had nearly as much trouble with the pandemic. And they've reopened a lot of stuff that wouldn't have otherwise been reopened. And I think that's an event that it would be pretty easy to social distance, because my plan is just to, go see the cars. They'll have them parked in groups, put on your mask, and maybe even just stand on the side of Highway 90 and video the cars as they drive by. I might even do a live stream. But we have a room booked for the first weekend, which is, we'll get out there October 2nd, and we'll be out there through the 4th, when the actual event starts on the 4th. But people will start coming out there that Friday, October 2nd. So the whole idea of that is just to get, video of the cars. Maybe talk to some people. We just have to see how that goes. But yeah, that's the plan for that. So those videos will come out. Those won't be on a schedule. Those will come out pretty much as they get filmed. I'll shoot the video and upload them that night. Take a ride up Bourbon Street here. Something I don't get to do very often. It's really hard to tell what is actually open. There's a pizza restaurant open on the left there. And of course you got the hotels. And the hotels are still operating. A lot of these places are shuttered, but I'm not seeing as many places boarded up as they were the last time I came through here. But shutters on almost everything is closed. Now there's the Bourbon Street Beer House is boarded up. And I kind of wonder if some of these places are ever going to reopen, or at least under the same name. But for a Saturday afternoon, even with the rain, really, this is not how Bourbon Street would ever be. Tropical Isle is closed. It's just shocking to see Bourbon Street like this. The same sign that says Marie Laveau's House of Voodoo is open. Getting past the tourist area, more into the residential part of the quarter. So anyway, that pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about. Our regular uploads continue on dates divisible by 3. So pretty much every 3 days, unless there's 31 days in a month, then we get an extra day off. And February messes everything up too. But yeah, I guess that's it. To see what the quarter looks like, and now we've seen it, so sign off here. Thanks for joining us. Please leave a comment below. Try to respond to as many comments as we can. Give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Only about 13% of our viewers are actually subscribed to the channel, so hit that subscribe button. And share this video with your friends. Share it on social media. Put it on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. And other than that, be sure to join us for our next 504 road trip.